guys, it's Monique with Oak Makes, and I am here today to go over how to do the math to basically customize hats to your head, or to anybody's head. As I've mentioned before, I did create a pattern, my first pattern for a hat, and I have filmed a tutorial, although I gotta be honest, I'm having a hard time finding that, and so I may have to refilm it because I don't know what I did with it, so that ain't cool. So anyways, I have that tutorial, and either I need to film it and put it out, or it's filmed that I need to edit it and whatever. And I've written the pattern, and I will probably put it up as a free pattern on Ravelry. Part of the written pattern is how to measure your head and do the math so that you can figure out how to customize this hat. And really, if you use this math and this process, you can customize almost any hat so that it fits you better. And I don't know about anybody else, but I mean, you know, like I love Crystal at Bag a Day. I think it's great. She makes a gazillion patterns, but every time I make a hat, it's like my head is swimming in it. Sometimes it's easier if you can, you know, before you get done and realize, well, this doesn't fit, and you either have to frog it or give it away, to make sure that you've done the math so that you can customize it as much as possible. So let's get to it, okay? So I have my redonkulously long measuring tape. So the goal is that you be able to customize pretty much any hat pattern so that it's your head. So the first thing you need to do is to get the circumference of your head, and you do that by measuring around the widest part of your head. Okay, so feel your head, you know, I mean, you can kind of tell where is the widest part. Everybody's head's a little different, you know. Measure around and then get that measurement. Okay, mine is 22. Now you're going to subtract 1 to 2 inches from that for ease. And only you know how much ease you like in a hat. Do you like your hat to be really snug and fitted, or do you like it to be kind of loosey-goosey and, you know, there to be plenty of room? If you like it to be loosey-goosey, subtract 2 inches. If you like it to be really tight, subtract, you know, 1 or maybe even like 3/4 of an inch. I kind of split the difference and do like 1.5 inches. So that means that the circumference that I am looking for is 20.5 inches. Okay, that's this. We need to figure out how many rows you need to do for the crown of your hat by figuring out the diameter of your head. Okay, I know I hate math. I'm horrible at math, and my job has so much math in it, and I hate it. I used to sit at my kitchen table doing my homework, and when I had to do my math homework, and I would just sit there and cry, because math to me is like, it's like a foreign language. I don't get it. I really don't get it. So it is a struggle for me. So just know that if I can do this, you really can do this, because I suck at math. So we need to find the diameter of your head. So you're going to take the circumference, okay, which is the first number we got, which is the widest part of your head around minus the amount of ease you want. Mine was 20.5, and you divide that by 3.142. So for me, that would be 20.5 divided by 3.142. That is 6.5 inches. Okay, use 1 decimal point there. So instead, you know, I wouldn't want to say 6 inches if I need 6.5. So use the first decimal point. So whatever it ends up being, include that, unless it's a 0 and it doesn't matter at that point, but include that decimal point. So mine needs to be 6.5 inches is the size the crown needs to be. Okay. Now you're going to measure from the crown of your head to however long you like your hat to be. So you're going to measure from the crown down to your ear, where you like it to fall, whether it's above your ear or really low below your ear or mid-ear. Like, choose where you like it to be. My measurement is 8, okay? Is 8 inches from the tip to where I like it to be. So you need, what we're trying to find out here is, we now know how big the crown has to be. Now we need to know how long it needs to be before you start making your band. So you know how many repeats before you get to your band, okay? If you don't have a band, it's going to be the full 8 inches. You're going to just keep going on the body until you hit the 8 inches. If you like a 2-inch band, you're going to go, for my head, I would go 6 inches and then I would start the band, okay? So you're going to take the length, the total length. So for me, that would be 8 inches. My band was 1.5 inches for this particular hat. So 8 minus 1.5 was 6.5 inches. So my crown was 6.5 inches and my length was 6.5 inches. Now, if your head is the same size as mine and you like your hats exactly how I like my hats, your numbers might end up being the same as mine. But if your head isn't the same as mine and you don't like your hats the same way, your number might vary. But this is how you're going to do it, okay? So the crown of my hat needs to be 6.5 across. So from one side to the other, 6.5 inches. And then the length of the body of my hat needs to be 6.5 inches down. And then I need to start my band, and that will be 1.5 inches, which will give me the 8 inches that I need. And I'm going to write this down below in the description, okay? So that you can see it done out. I'm going to put kind of the general information, and then I'm going to show you an example using my measurements, okay? So we're going to go over it one more time. Measure around your head at the widest spot. Figure out how much ease you like based on how you like your hats, tight or loose. If you like it loose, 2 inches. You like it tight, 1 inch. You're in the middle, 1.5 inches. Subtract that amount of ease from the width of your head, okay? Then you take that number, so the smaller number where you've already subtracted the ease, you divide that by 3.142. I think that's pi. That gives you, in inches, how far across your crown of your hat needs to be before you start on the body. Okay, so hopefully this will make sense. And when you're looking at a pattern, you can tell where the crown is, and then you start working down towards the body. If the hat is all the same pattern, then just once you think you're at about the measurement that your crown root needs to be, you just measure, and then, like for me, I would just measure, and then when I hit 6.5, I know, okay, I'm now starting to put the length on, as opposed to the increases, of the crown. So I'm hoping this makes sense, guys. If it doesn't, ask me questions in the comments below. I promise you I will answer, and if I don't have the answer, I will try to find one. So, like in most hats, I think any of us that have done hats in the round that start that are worked from top down, and this is for top down, okay? This isn't bottom up. This is top down hats and patterns. You know that at the, as you're going, you're increasing, and that increasing is the crown. You're creating the crown of your hat, okay? When you stop increasing is when you start the body of your hat. So just keep that in mind when you are looking at the formula down below. So when you're looking at somebody else's hat pattern and they're having you increase, and then all of a sudden they have you stop increasing and start doing something else, that is where they are saying the crown ends. So what you would do if you were doing theirs is you would just measure. You know what your measurement is. Mine would be 6.5. So if I'm making somebody else's hat, you just measure. And then when I hit 6.5, I know that even if their pattern says do another row of increases, I don't need another row of increases. I can move on to the next part, which is what comes after the increases end. Okay? God, I hope this makes sense. I feel like I'm just going to confuse you all, but hopefully not. And again, questions down below in the comments, and I will have this all written out for you in the description box. It is much simpler than I think a lot of people think it would be. I hate math and I can do it, so I know you can do it. And this will open up a whole new world in that hopefully if you're doing a top-down hat pattern, you are no longer finding that they are too big for you once you finish making it, because you will have been able to customize it with these figures. You know what it needs to be to fit. If you want it to be really slouchy, you totally know that you can continue on beyond that, you know. You're still going to minus the band width to find out how long. So if you want a hat that's, you know, really long in the back, try and guesstimate how long it would be. Like, get a measuring tape and see if you can figure out how long you want it to be. And then that's where you're going to say, okay, well, this time I want it to be 14 inches and my band is going to be 2 inches. So actually I need the body to be 12 inches long. And then when you hit 12 inches, you start with the band. So then you can still do a slouchy hat. You know, you can use this to create a hat that's very fitted, one that's very loose, so on and so forth, whether it's a slouchy long one, blah, 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 blah. So hopefully you get it, and I will stop yammering at you about it. All right, guys, I hope this is helpful for you. If it is, let me know. Let me know if you think that this will be something that is useful for you as you go about your crochet business.